Hey guys, today we're going to talk about perpendicular lines. Yesterday we talked about parallel lines, and parallel lines, the slope was always exactly the same. But what about perpendicular lines? So I'm going to do one example of that, and it's example A. Example B, you can already go ahead and just cross off because I don't want to spend the time doing two examples. I think I can get my point across with one example. So for line number one, I'm going to go ahead and look. I can see that my slope intercept is +1. So I'm going to go ahead and put that. Y equals, and so I need to figure out what my slope is. So I'm going to pick a point that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. And so this is 1, 2, 3, 4. My rise is 4. My run is 1, 2, 4 over 2. 4 over 2 is 2. It looks like a positive slope. So I'm going to write y equals 2x plus 1, and so we're good. Now I'm going to do line number 2. Line number 2 looks like it crosses over right at the origin, so we're going to just leave it be. There isn't going to be a y-intercept. Well, it's 0, so I don't need to write it. Now let me find a good point. Here's a point right here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise is 2 and my run is 4. Well, 2 over 4, if I simplify it, is 1/2. So I'm going to go ahead and write the 1/2. Y equals 1/2 x, but I'm not going to put plus anything because it is the origin. Now, if I look, it is very important that I notice that this is a negative slope. So I'm going to put a negative in front of it. Now, what do you notice? I don't know if you know, but if you take 2 and you put it over 1, which means 2, and you flip it, you will get 1/2. So the rule here is that perpendicular lines, and this is super important for you to remember, that is a long word. They have slopes that are opposite signs. Remember that. And reciprocals. So reciprocals means you flip it. So just remember that. We'll practice it actually quite a few times because this is kind of an involved assignment. So let me move on from here. So on this very first one, it gives me the slope. It says that the slope is 4. So if I flip it and change the sign, the perpendicular slope would be a -1/4. Now, it wants me to write the equation of the line. That means something in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to go ahead and name, this is my x and my y, and I'm going to use the point slope formula. So I have y minus a -3 equals my -1/4 slope, x minus a -5. All right, I have to clean this up because it's kind of a mess. Y plus 3 equals -1/4 x plus 5. Moving on, I'm going to distribute my -1/4 x, and I will get a -5/4 right here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, well, I could go ahead and clear that, or I can just go ahead and leave it alone. But let's go ahead and turn that into a decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and say that y plus 3 equals a -1/4 x. I'm just going to go ahead for now. I'm going to change it to a decimal. I can leave it like that, or I can change it back. We might do both. Now I'm going to move the 3 over because that's lot easier. Negative, it's still a negative slope, minus 4.25. And I can stay right there. Now, if I go ahead and decide maybe from the beginning to always leave it as a fraction, it would be y equals a negative 1/4 x minus a 17 over 4. All right, so this was, we were already given the slope and we just have to flip it. The next one is in standard form. Guys, on the last test, so many people got questions wrong because they just left it in standard form and tried to determine the slope while still in standard form. We need to move things around. So I'm going to move the x over, and I have 3y equals, it is a negative x plus 3. I need to get the y by itself, so everything will have to be divided by 3. So I have negative 1/3 x plus 1. All right, my slope is negative 1/3. I want you to think about what the perpendicular slope would be. It'd be positive, and 1/3 would become a 3. So now I have another equation, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use the point slope formula. Got to get in the habit of using this. So we have y minus a negative 5 equals the new slope, x minus a negative 4. Y plus 5 equals 3x plus 4. All right, I'm going to keep going here. I'm going to distribute my 3x plus 12, and I'm going to subtract the 5 because I'm trying to get it in slope intercept form. So I have it now in slope intercept form, and I am done. Let's move on. Now, this says they want it in standard form, and that's something we have to always pay attention, because sometimes you get it in slope-intercept form and you think, oh, I'm done. But no, you have to keep going with it. So again, I don't have a slope, so I have to do all the work to find a slope. So I'm going to go ahead and move the 2x over, and now I have y equals a positive 2x minus 4. So my slope is 2. All right, think about it. What would be perpendicular to that? Well, we know one thing. It would be a negative half. That is correct. So now I have my slope. I have my x1 and I have my y1. So what will I use? Point slope formula. You notice we're doing this a lot. Y minus 5 equals a negative 1/2 x minus a negative 6. Y minus 5 equals a negative 1/2 x. Whoops, let me go ahead and back up just a second here. I'm going to go ahead, before I do that, let's clean this up. Okay, y minus 5 equals a negative 1/2 x minus 3. Add the 5. Y equals negative 1/2 x plus 2. Okay, now at this point, I'm not done because I have to change it to standard form. So I need to move the x. I need to get rid of the fraction. And I think when I move the x, it will get rid of the negative, which is nice. So now I have 1/2 x equals, whoops, almost forgot my y, plus y equals a 2. Now I'm going to get rid of the fraction. And remember, again, you have to multiply. Every term has to be multiplied. So we have a x plus 2y equals 4. There we go. And we're done. Next one. So again, this is going to finish in standard form. Now, they don't have an equation, but they have two ordered pairs, so we have to do the slope formula. So again, I'm going to go ahead and label these. I'll do this x1, y1, x2, y2. Honestly, it doesn't matter what order you did them in, so don't worry about it. So I'm going to do, oh, and by the way, it's going to be perpendicular to whatever we figure out. So let's see. We want -7 minus 3. And then we have a -1 minus 1. -10 over a -2 is a +5. Okay, we have slope, but we don't have the perpendicular slope. So we need to do another step. So if slope is 5, a perpendicular slope would be what? I'm going to flip the 5 and it becomes a 1/5, but I'm going to put a negative in front of it. So there is our slope. And they gave you the y-intercept, so I'm going to just go ahead. That was nice. So I have -1/5 x minus 4, but I'm still not done. I need to put this in slope intercept form. So I'm going to move this over, which is nice because it's going to get rid of that negative. And I have 1/5 x plus y equals a -4. And I'm going to get rid of the fraction by multiplying by the denominator. So I end up with an x plus 5y equals a -20. And that is my answer. Okay, now we have two equations and we have to determine if they're parallel, perpendicular, coincide. We haven't even talked about that, or none of the above. So let's look at this. So I'm going to put them both in slope-intercept form. That's very important. So I'm going to move my 2x over. And I got -8y equals -2x minus 24. Now I'm going to get rid of the 8. Bear with me on this one because this is important. 8 equals a positive 1/4 x plus 3. All right, we're done with that one. Now we're going to put the other one in slope-intercept form. Whoops, what the heck? Okay, so -4x on both sides. This takes time and patience, so please be patient with yourself. All right, so I have a here the slope is a 1/4, and here the slope is a -4. So what is it? Parallel, perpendicular, we haven't even talked about coincide, or none of the above. It is perpendicular. It's flipped and it has the opposite sign. Let's look at the next one. -2x minus 2x. -8y equals -2x minus 24. Divide by -8 all the way through. Y equals positive 1/4 x plus a 3. So we have 1/4. Let's do the other one. Minus x minus x. -4y equals -x plus 4. Let's get rid of the -4. We have y equals a positive 1/4 x minus 1. Okay, same slope, different y-intercept. These are parallel.